So, after 30s is when I actually realized that I need to start taking care of my hair and not just skin. And I realized that I also have thyroid, which there were no symptoms at all except hair fall. What is the relationship of hormones and hair?
Well, that's a very important question, and it's important that we address not just what we see, but also what's happening inside. Because, as you said, you did not just start taking care of your skin, but hair. Just a fact, your scalp ages 7 times faster than your face. So that says a lot. There is also a statistic where 50% of the women lose 50% of their hair by the time they hit menopause, which is a very staggering number. Like literally half the world's population of women lose 50% of their hair. And the connection is 80% internal and only 20% what we do on the outside.
Can we reverse that? Stop the hair fall for 50%?
It is a cyclical organ, just like your skin. So, as we discussed earlier, your skin regenerates every 30 days.
Correct.
Yeah, your hair regenerates every 90 days. So, before we even go into the hormone and hair connection, it would be good to understand what the hair growth cycle looks like. So, you see the hair strand that's coming out of my scalp. It is actually connected to a dermal papilla, which is right beneath the skin, beneath the dermis, to be in the scientific term. Now, this dermal papilla has something known as daughter cells. In scientific terms, we call them fibroblasts.
Yeah.
It has the ability to multiply. Whenever there is a micro or a mechanical stimulation, which I grew up doing a lot, like a massage or, pulling the scalp when we are doing the hair ritual, hair oiling ritual, what happens during this process is these fibroblasts, they get stimulated, and because of the stimulation, there's something known as multiplication of these fibroblast cells. And a healthy scalp, when you look under a trichoscope, you will see more than one hair strand coming out of a healthy hair follicle. So it's not one hair strand per hair follicle. You can have 3 to 4. I've actually gotten mine tested. I have about 3 to 4 in most of my hair follicles. That explains the hair density and hair thickness. So this stage where your hair is still intact with the dermal papilla is called as the anagen phase of hair growth.
Okay.
All right. The second phase is called the catagen phase. Catagen is where this dermal papilla will still be intact with the hair strand, but the multiplication of your fibroblast cells will be halted, which means your hair growth has come to a resting state. If you do not continue to give it the nutrition and the nourishment and the right rituals, this resting stage can then go into the telogen phase, which is
So this resting phase happens at a certain age?
It's not about certain age. It's happening throughout your life. As I said, it's a 90-day cycle. So if you are a healthy individual, your anagen phase of hair growth will stay intact up to 6 to 7 years. And that explains why you have long hair.
Okay.
So the longer the anagen phase of hair growth, which means your hair continues to grow in length and even in terms of its luster, in terms of the thickness, in terms of just how your hair looks. You see people with dry, brittle, frizzy hair, that's a sign of something which is internally not correct. It's not just connected to the dermal papilla, but the hair is also crying for help. Your hair, how it looks, it's a silent whisper from your internal system. What's happening systemically. So if you honor it by going back to a ritual, by going back to your nutrition, by nourishing it, even how you touch your hair, that also kind of gives energy. You see these plants around. If I don't give them water with the right intention, it's not going to grow.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the same philosophy applies to your hair growth. Your scalp is the soil from which your hair can grow from, and it only depends on the quality of your scalp, which will determine the quality of your hair strands. So in the resting phase, what happens is the constant supply of nutrition to the hair follicle is at rest, which means It's a normal physiological process, because after 90 days that hair will actually shed off, or if you're continuing to give it the proper nutrition, the proper care that you would be giving otherwise, your hair will continue to stay in the anagen phase of hair growth. But as we know, hair fall, hair loss is such an, I would say, epidemic right
Yes.
now. So many people are experiencing hair loss, hair thinning. There's male pattern baldness. Females are experiencing male pattern baldness because of excess of androgen. So whenever there is a disruption in the hormonal balance, your anagen phase moves to the catagen phase. So that's why to just answer your question in terms of how hormones are related to your hair growth, this is a very important correlation to understand. Your hair growth cycle is directly proportional to your hormonal health.